This right here, a crew neck, all right, with my 1320 in the bull, man. And again, I've worn it plenty of times already, but this is absolutely crazy, and the quality is crazy. It literally fits the exact way I want it to. But man, that's crazy. Right? Going on YouTube, I am back with another video, and man, today we're gonna be talking about, can you daily drive your Scatpack, or can you daily drive your 1320 and you know, still keep the car in good condition, maintenance, all that good stuff, man. Because I get the question all the time, like, do you daily drive the 1320? Are you putting it on the track? All kinds of stuff, and I'm gonna answer that here shortly. No, I don't daily drive it. Yes, I try to drive it as much as I can because I paid for the car and I enjoy the car. But I understand what comes on this car, what it's meant for, and things like that. So yeah, let's dive into it, man. I'm gonna show you the modes, show you why I think what I think, and we're gonna go from there. But make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you browse a few videos and let me know what you think, man. But let's get to it. All right, so she is dirty, super dirty, but I'm not washing it until Friday before we head down to Columbia. But you can see how dirty she is. You can't keep these things clean, man. Can't keep these things clean. Let's go ahead and hop in. Let's start the car and let's get going. All right, so first things first, you guys. You guys are gonna notice, all right, obviously, you know, different screens set up, different buttons, etc. Right? So the first thing I want you guys to see is the difference in the Scatpack versus our cars is right here, right? This major thing, all right? These setups for the performance packages, all right? I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean by that here in a second. All right, you guys, so first things first, I'm gonna show you the difference in why, if you're gonna use this for track and only the track, you do not need to daily drive it. Just for the simple fact, again, we don't have SRT pages, we have drag modes, all right? So what I mean by that is if I were to hit drag, okay? If I were to hit drag, it puts me in a drag mode, all right? So what I mean by that is it literally wants me to go from a dead stop to put all the power to the rear end, etc., right? But when you go into our actual performance controller, right, you're gonna see we have drag mode setup, we have normal, drag, street, etc., right? When you throw on drag, all right, and you're in park, to engage the actual engine and transmission, it's actually a mess up from Dodge that they haven't fixed with their computer system. You have to pull back on both paddle shifters here, all right? But literally, all right, I'm in drag, okay? And then of course, sport, normal, etc., all right? Now, the reason I say if you're gonna use it for the track and only the track, don't daily drive it, because at that point, you're gonna be putting enough wear and tear on the car, the drag setup itself, and you just don't want any extra maintenance outside of what you'll have to do to take care of the car. Now, with that being said, you can daily drive this car in a normal or default mode and be perfectly fine, right? So what I mean by that is literally your engine and transmission will be in your normal mode, etc. It won't help with any of the 60-foot torque, etc. The car holds up very, very well, but those are the difference. Sport just kind of adds a little bit of a softer drive, etc., in my opinion. But the traction, engine, etc., only have normal, drag, valet, eco, whatever you want to call it, etc. So therefore, we are going to hit the road. I'm going to talk a little bit more, and that's it. All right, you guys, so we are finally on the road. And again, the title doesn't lie, man. We're talking about, can you daily drive a 1320, right? And before I get bashed by like 1320 community or anything like that, not in a negative way, but most people who buy this car or who order this car get it specifically to run on the drag strip and to play around a little bit, and that's basically it, right? But I get the question a lot, you know, can you daily drive this thing, right? Are you daily driving it? You know, does it have the capability, etc., right? So we're gonna dive into that here shortly. But the biggest thing I need for everybody to understand is there is a pretty nice size difference in the specs, parts, you know, how the car functions, etc. on a 1320 versus your regular Scatpack Challenger, okay? One of the biggest being the actual springs, active dampers, things like that, dampeners, sorry, which, you know, allows for, at least in my opinion, on a 1320, a little bit softer ride, all right? Now, I've driven, you know, RTs, SXTs to red eyes, man. So, like, I've kind of been in it all, driven it all. And for some reason, man, this is the actual softest ride out of all the cars that I've driven. So, again, that speaks volumes to the Demon suspension, again, the active dampeners when it's in drag, the springs itself, you know, things like that, because we do tend to sit a little bit higher than your average Scatpack Challenger. You know, at a car meet one day, if I actually get next to one or park next to one, I'll show you the slight difference. Our wheel gap is just a tad bit higher. But to answer the question that everybody's been waiting for, right? Can you daily drive a 1320? Two things. If you're going to use this car specifically for the track and only the track, your answer is no. All right. The reason for that, the car learns your driving habits, things of that nature. And then also with daily driving comes daily maintenance, wear and tear on the vehicle and on, you know, on these parts that are meant to, again, handle a whole lot of torque, force, etc. when running from a dig or a complete stop, right? Now, you know, when you do get it specifically for the track, normally you're gonna, you know, add, you know, power adders, building the engine, you know, everything from taking seats out, right? So there's a difference there, and that's why I give you the answer no first, right? Because if you got it for the track, that's what you're gonna use it for, you know. And what's crazy is when I first got in the car, the first thing I thought about, okay, boom, I need to get these tires off ASAP, right? Not because I'm daily driving the car or anything of that nature, but those Nexans have a 100 rating, so they're, you know, perfectly good for the track. But if, you know, you drive around town with them, they're just gonna wear out, and it's a waste of a tire at that point. So I knew I was going down to Atlanta right after I bought the car, and I said, man, I'm gonna put 500 to 600 miles on these tires, and they're gonna be done by the time I get back. And I didn't even use the car for what it's, you know, the purpose of it, right? So those are all things to think about when you're talking about daily driving a 1320. Now, I do know somebody who did daily drive a 1320. Shout out to Tito. If you don't know who that is, his @ is now @Cuban Media. He shoots a lot of my car shots on my Instagram. But he daily drove his 1320 and had, you know, no issue when it came to it, right? Now, again, that's your answer for it. You're going to use this car for the drag strip and drag strip only, right? So that's kind of an obvious answer. But in my experience, can you daily drive this thing? 100%, right? The reason I say yes is I actually took about 2 to 3 weeks of, you know, basically driving it, not every day, but as much as I possibly could to get a feel for, you know, driving habits. How do I drive it when I go certain places? Because obviously when I'm on the highway, you know, I do want to have a little fun. You know, I'm not saying that I race or push it hard or anything like that, but, you know, I don't really go too many places that I have to get on the highway, right? So I put I'd say about 400 to 500 miles on it pretty quick, you know, daily driving it, right? So for me, you know, the ride, man, was super smooth, had no issues. Now, obviously, gas was a little crazy, but again, it's all about how you drive the car. So, you know, obviously, if you don't know anything about that, watch my previous video, all right? But let's go ahead and get into the details now that I've talked a lot, right? Now, the 1320 has some different specs than your regular Scatpack. So on the Scatpacks, you have like the SRT pages, track mode, etc., right? We have drag mode, all right? And I'll kind of explain that and show the buttons and what pops up here shortly. But basically, the best way I can put it to you is we have normal, street, drag, that's it, right? We have somewhat of an eco mode and valet mode as well, but you have to get into the system to do that, right? So the reasoning behind, you know, you're able to daily drive this because we do have a normal setting for the car, right? Now, if you you're wrong. All right, and what I mean by that is your drag mode is specifically tuned out, tuned to be able to run on the track from the dealership, right? So with that being said, man, you're driving around in a drag mode where technically drag mode is specifically used to, you know, get you out of a stop, get you out of a dig, right? So what I've heard from other drivers, other 1320 owners, that, you know, riding around in drag can actually hurt, you know, the driving habits, the ECU, all that stuff, and actually, you know, give wear and tear to the active dampers, because now you're driving on a road miles and miles in drag mode, you know, and it can actually hurt the actual launch of the car, which is the main thing on this car, is the first 60 feet. So it is what it is on that aspect, right? But for me, again, I drove it for about 2 to 3 weeks straight of just, again, you're hopping in, going, etc. And I felt perfectly fine. Right now, I didn't drive it in drag mode one time while doing so. So, you know, obviously pay attention to that, because that's huge as well. But, you know, for me, a car like this, you know, you definitely don't want to daily drive. I think if you get into a Scatpack or more, that you want to have something that you can rely on. Not only that you don't spend as much in gas, but the car holds its value longer. And the car stays nice, because these aren't, you know, cheap cars, right? They're definitely being pushed out pretty heavily by Dodge, but again, they're not a cheap car, and, you know, you want to keep it as nice as possible, at least for me. But yeah, that's my answer in a nutshell. You know, I wish it was, you know, more detailed of an answer, but I don't daily drive it. But I did take the time to drive it as much as I can the previous, you know, 2 to 3 weeks, just to get a feel for what it would be like. Because I do enjoy the Challenger. You know, I had an RT previously, and I drove the heck out of it after I started having fun with it, man, and getting involved with a lot more, you know, people in the community, right? But yeah, I think if you have a 1320, you can daily drive your car, man. Now, can you daily drive it in drag mode, running around, trying to race people? No, you'll end up ruining the car for what it's supposed to be used for. Now, the car does come, again, with drag specs on it, so if you're going to daily drive it, take those off, all right? You don't want to be caught in the rain, let alone driving the heck out of it on those. They'll get bald really quick, and then you'll have no tire, and then it's basically a waste of what those tires are. They're about a $300 tire a piece, man. Now, again, that's my answer. Everybody's going to be different, right? So my main thing is, of course, compared to a regular Scat, it's going to have a softer ride just based on the springs and the actual suspension setup, etc. But again, that helps transfer weight to the back end to put it to the ground, right? And then also, I saw no difference in miles per gallon, man. Like, and what I mean by that is, my guy CLT Hemi, or Cody, doesn't daily drive his, but again, the miles per gallon, he has a 2019 Scat Charger versus mine, are around the same, and we pretty much go everywhere together, right? So, you know, for me, it was one of those things. I had to look at another Scat that basically does the same thing I do, and no difference, right? But again, the more you daily drive a car that is a V8, the more money you're going to put into it, right? So that's gas, that's maintenance, that's oil, all of that stuff adds up, you know, when you start talking about taking care of the car the way it's supposed to. But yeah, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments, because literally, you know, I've heard so many different things. Like, if you have a Hellcat, you don't want to put miles on it, and, you know, I know a few people that daily drive a Hellcat and, you know, have something even crazier in the driveway. So to me, it's, what can you afford? What do you enjoy? If you enjoy driving it, man, it's all about the miles per gallon, right? And if you're worried about miles per gallon, you don't even need to grab one of these cars. Again, shout out to Scavenger 1320 on that one, man. You're not subscribed to his channel, make sure you subscribe to his channel as well. He is another 1320 owner, and what's crazy is I think he is one of one in his color, year, etc. He has the Hellraiser, which is crazy on the 1320s. But yeah, you can daily drive these if you're not going to use it for the track, man. If you're going to build this thing for the track, then there's no purpose in you wasting miles and building an engine and trying to keep it as a daily drivable, you know, capability. Now, there are a few things that you can do to the car to give it a little bit more giddy up and still keep daily drivability, like long tubes, full, you know, exhaust, you know, fuel rails, you you know, injectors, things like that, that'll help you out a little bit. But again, you're talking about losing warranty, etc. on that end, with some of those things, right? But enough talking, man. That's my simple answer is yes, if you plan on daily driving this and not using it for the track or driving the heck out of it on the track, man, it's a super nice car to daily drive. It handles well, it rides well. So that's my answer. But again, for all my actual drag strip guys that actually, you know, trailer this car to the track, etc., it's a big no. And honestly, with what's about to happen to this car, it's going to be a mix of a show car and, you know, a track car, right? And I know that sounds crazy, but with it being a track car, you know, I know that I'm going to keep it, you know, put up, you know, not many miles on it, which will keep it nice to where I can go to these car shows and show the car off, and I can get on the track and have a little fun with it, right? So I'm going for like a little hybrid of both, and I understand the wear and tear on the track, you know, all that stuff is a real deal. But yeah, again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about daily driving your Scat, your Hellcat, your RT, your SXT, whatever your experience is with Dodge, man. Let me know, because so far, man, I'm super pleased with the car. I'm super pleased with how well Dodge has handled, you know, ordering parts, because there is so much that's you know, on a Demon that comes on this car that you know, you kind of have to put in, you know, a little advance of what you need replaced and you know, extra parts and things like that. So they do a really good job of that, even though they're kind of on back order with a lot of stuff. So shout out to Keffer Dodge over on Independence, man. Willie took care of me, and still does to this day, man. Even Gastonia Dodge, you know, shout out to them, because you know, I do go to them a good bit. But again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, because this car is about to go crazy here in the next 2 to 6 weeks, and that's a wrap. Now, before we hit the road, man, I got a special gift from my guy G1 Customs, man. He went ahead and threw me some apparel, not only for free, man, but he gave me some of the highest quality out. Like, I'm super picky on my shirts and everything like that. And what's crazy is I've worn them multiple times to take videos, and every time I go to record, it ends up like 20 degrees, and you know, it just gets a little wild, especially at the police chase. I was actually wearing his gear and gonna go review on it and everything else, man. But I wanted to go ahead and show you guys, you know, everything he did for me. Literally, he just reached out to me, loved my comment, man. So big shout out to him. And again, I've worn these like 3 or 4 times already, because again, I'm super picky on how the shirts fit and things like that. And man, they exceeded my expectations. First things first, man, my favorite, dog, this right here, a crew neck, all right, with my 1320 in the bull, man. And again, I've worn it plenty of times already, but this is absolutely crazy, and the quality is crazy. It literally fits the exact way I want it to. But man, that's crazy, right? And then of course, my next one, he went nuts with this, with the flames and my Toro logo, bro. Like that is crazy, right? And again, I literally just washed and dried these, because I literally just wore that exact outfit the other weekend. And shout out to him, because I actually wore this last night. But I wear 1s in a lot of my videos. I wear 3s in a lot of my videos. Those are my favorite ones. And he hooked me up with a 1 shirt, bro. Like, and that's, you know, I can't thank my, you know, subscribers enough, but everybody who watches me, man, like that, you guys are the reason I'm doing this. So I appreciate you guys more than anything. But if you need any custom clothing, man, that is the guy to go to. I won't get any other custom things but from him. He's going to be doing my YouTube shirts, my YouTube hoodies, everything that I'm going to be doing to kind of help promote myself a little bit more. That's the man for it. And if you don't know what kind of car he drives, make sure you check it out. He's got one of the nicest cars out, man. Again, G1 Customs, I'll leave all his info in the description and everything like that, but let's get to it.